So more now on the flooding in BC. David Common is in Claiborne Village in Abbotsford, one of the hardest hit areas. He now joins me live. So David, tell me what's going on there behind you.
Yeah, Andrew, I want to take you through the scene here. So this is a village that about a week ago had salmon swimming up the main street. Today, they've got soldiers. Take a look at what they're doing. You know, inside these machines, essentially, no actual moving parts, but they fill it with sand and then turn these into sandbags really rapidly. You see the effort that's ongoing here. Simply step on a pedal, fill that sandbag, get them in here. They're then taken out by Bobcat because what they're trying to do is reinforce a dike that actually broke during the floods. They're trying to get it up higher ahead of what are expected to be quite a bit more rain coming in tonight. Already those levels have gone down, but there is urgency because it's expected the levels will again go back up. So what we have, I'll bring you right in here. Craig the cameraman is going to watch his feet because of all the sandbags that are here. I will point out that a lot of the people who are here, not just regular force, not just people who are full-time in the military, but soldiers, Andrew, who just, a day ago had a civilian job, talking to a woman here who was a court clerk yesterday, and today is part of this effort, this frantic effort trying to get these sandbags filled and get that dike restored before the rain comes in.
Yeah, so what are people saying about that, David? Because I can tell that it's not raining now, but the rain is coming, and it's coming in waves, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Coming in waves. It's another one of these atmospheric river systems that's coming in, and that could bring, a week's worth of rain essentially in a day. It's not on par with what happened a little more than a week ago, but it is still landing on already very saturated, in some cases still flooded ground. And so there is concern about what is coming in these multiple systems. And when you look at the help that's here from the Canadian Armed Forces, certainly in a place like this, it is appreciated because it's the thing that will potentially save properties with this next round of rain. But there are places further inland that have seen very little help, that are pleading to have soldiers sent. And for a variety of reasons, not up to the military to decide who gets sent where. It's up to the province to make those formal requests and then push those requests forward. But you can see exactly what is needed and what can happen when you amass, you got about 50 soldiers here trying to just rapidly fill as many bags as possible, get them moved out, get them building up that dike. It's all about height here, all about trying to create more of a barrier against those floodwaters, Andrew.
And so then, David, have you had a chance to speak? You mentioned briefly to speak to some of those soldiers who either are reserves or reservists, or they were working in more of a bureaucratic or a clerical job, and all of a sudden there they are, literally trying to save communities.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. The couple of people, it's hard to talk to people because frankly they're busy. They got a big task at hand, and we don't really want to interrupt them from that, trying to stay out of their way as much as possible. The point here is that they are happy to be here. Some of them are really eager to get on this, have moved from their civilian jobs, been called up essentially, signed the papers, and they're here. They say, as long as it's necessary to get the job done. And with 2 atmospheric rivers coming in over the next few days, these big weather systems, no question that there is an absolute urgency to get these things in place, Andrew.
And then finally, David, you did allude to it because there are other communities. We've heard from mayors who've said, we've got volunteers doing their best. They've been working 9 days straight. We need people like the ones behind you. We need them, and we need them now. Do we have any sense if more are coming to other areas of the province?
We know that there are more soldiers who are being brought into the province or who are being activated inside the province. We know that's happening. Where they're going, we don't know. And, you talk about some of those communities. There are communities where, there have not been any repairs at all. The highway is totally gone and likely won't be repaired, for months, even years, that they're looking at freeze up very soon, enormous amounts of damage. And so they, you talk about the volunteers who've been doing it. They've been doing it single-handedly. They're exhausted. I mean, literally, physically exhausted. And that's why a lot of those mayors are saying we need help. And they're looking at folks like this to try to bring in that help. But of course, The way it works in Canada is that it has to be the province to make a formal request to the military to increase the number of soldiers and to send them to specific places. These soldiers themselves, they just go where they're told, do the task that needs to be done.
And then finally, David, you know, of course, everyone wants to stay optimistic about this. But, you know, you look at those sandbags, you look at the effort, then you hear the forecast that it's just going to be storm after storm back to back, you know, over the next perhaps week. I mean,
Yeah.
it gets, we know tomorrow, beyond that, we know there's more. We don't know exactly. It gets a little less precise as we look more into the future. But is there a sense that this battle can be won?
I think that really depends on who you ask. You know, this is not a weather system that is going to be at the same level, about what it was experienced just a couple of days ago or a week ago now. But just to give you the idea that, you know, more water on top of the saturated ground. I mean, take a look at my boots, right? This is indicative of the kind of conditions. Like it's soaking wet. This is actually pretty good. I don't have my rubber boots on. I don't have my, hip waders on. But that's the kind of conditions that are out there. This is, all things considered, not bad where I'm standing compared to some places that haven't seen much help at all, that people got plucked out by helicopter, have left their home, and there's no concept that they'll be able to go home, and now add to that yet more water. I think that's the concern. And that's why there is this urgency now to, you know, in the areas where they've been able to restore those dikes to try to protect it that much more, as much as possible, really, at this point, Andrew.
David, thank you. That is the CBC's David Common live in Abbotsford, British Columbia.